Welcome to the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast, where we aim to help fellow veterinary rehab therapists increase their knowledge and elevate their practice. I'm Megan Kelly.
And I'm Ané Lloyd. Together, we bring you the latest insights, research, and information in the field of veterinary rehabilitation.
This podcast is brought to you by Onlinepethealth, a leading continuing education membership for veterinary rehabilitation therapists. With Onlinepethealth, you will have access to a wide range of online resources to help you stay up to date with the latest techniques, advances, and trends in the industry.
Our podcast features in-depth conversations with leading experts in veterinary rehabilitation. They share their own experiences and knowledge to help you improve your practice. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the field, our goal is to provide you with the tools and the insights you need to succeed.
So join us as we explore the exciting world of veterinary rehabilitation and help you take your practice to the next level. Hey Vetrehabbers, today's episode, Ané and I are talking about something very close to my heart, and that is mentorship. We're diving into why mentorship is so important in the vet rehab space and how it's impacted each of us personally. What it really means to have someone walking alongside you in your vet rehab journey, and especially when you're navigating all these different types of new techniques, tricky cases, or if you're just simply trying to build your confidence. We're going to unpack what mentorship is, what it isn't, and where it fits into your growth as a vet rehab therapist. If you've been curious about how our Onlinepethealth mentorship program works, we're breaking that down too, how to get involved, what to expect, and the amazing connections that can come from being a part of it. If you're looking for continuing education, specifically in the field of vet rehab, we've got you covered. This month, you can sign up for Stronger, Happier, Healthier, Science-Backed Therapeutic Exercises for Dogs with Roberta Blake, or Anatomy, Physiology, and the Key Principles of Rabbit Rehab with Constanza Gomez-Alvarez. In our hydrotherapy section, we've got Galen Myotherapy, Principles and Ethics for Vet Rehabbers, lectured by Julia Robertson. And on the equine platform, Functional Biomechanics of the Horse by Constanza Gomez-Alvarez, and Why Don't I Win? Causes and Assessments of Poor Performance on the Equine Athlete by Roberta Blake. So you can go to onlinepethealth.com/free to sign up for any of those webinars. A quick word from our sponsors before we dive in. At Paw Prosper, we believe true pet well-being demands a three-pronged approach: prevention, support, and rehabilitation. Our brands are trusted by veterinarians, universities, and rehab facilities alike. So whether you're looking to train, rehabilitate, or help your patients age gracefully, our brands, Walking Pets, Help 'em Up, Response System, Fit Paws, Muffins Halos, Sleepy Pod, and Canine Cots offer effective, innovative, and proven solutions. You can sign up today to receive a one-time special gift for all our Online Pet Health listeners with your next order, and you can go to pawprosper.com/OPH. Right, over to my chat with Ané.
Hi guys, and welcome. Hi Meg.
Hey Ané.
Okay, so this time it's my turn to interview you. It's super cool. So Meg, welcome to the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast. We're here to really uplift and educate the community of vet rehabbers. It's so great to have you as a guest today.
Yeah, and I'm excited about the topic because it's actually the second favorite thing that I do at Onlinepethealth. Do you want to know what's the favorite thing?
What's your favorite thing, Meg?
Interviewing people for the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast. That's my most favorite thing that I do. And the second most favorite thing I do is mentoring vet rehabbers.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, the podcast is so valuable because we just learn from so many people. I think it's really very interesting. Okay, so today we are talking about mentorship, Meg.
Yeah.
And you have been mentored and mentoring basically your whole career, and I think that's really great. So why is mentorship important, and what has it really meant to you as a professional?
Yeah, so if I think back, and I'm going to go before I was actually a vet rehabber, so even when I was a vet. So I qualified in Pretoria in 2001, and I went over to the UK. And I started work at a mixed animal practice on the Isle of Wight. And it was really daunting. I mean, I literally had just qualified and I got there and they just gave me a car. And then they said, here is the room with all the drugs and, all there's buckets and there's hoof testers and all those. Just choose what you want and put it in your car, set your car up. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it was really overwhelming. I think I cried. I think I was in that little room and I think I shed a few tears. I was actually just so overwhelmed. I was like, I have no idea what I need. And it was mixed animal practice. So I was seeing cows and horses and everything. And I remember for the first, like probably 4 months that I was at that practice, I felt so alone and I really wasn't enjoying it. And I had these moments where I was like, this cannot be what the rest of my life is going to be like. I hate this. Like I have done everything in my power to be able to, get accepted into vet school and get through vet school because this is what I've wanted my whole life to be a vet. And this sucks. Like I feel so alone. I was just feeling so out of my depth. And I think it was also obviously coming from South Africa, a lot of the drugs and things that we used, although the actual active ingredient of the drug we know, the name of the drug is different. And so I was just constantly looking, like I'm looking for this, but I don't know where to look because everything's alphabetized. What's that word? I can't say that.
Alphabetized.
Yeah, that's a hard word. And then, but it's always with the actual name of the drug, so like not the active ingredient. So I couldn't find anything, and it was just so stressful. And after 4 months, there was a lady that started working there, and she was actually just working half day, and her name was Jill. And I got to like spend a bit more time with Jill, and then I like started to like ask her like for help, and like I would go into the dispensary, and if Jill was there, I'd be like, Jill, help me, like what, and she started helping me, and I would probably say she was like my first mentor. And when I look at mentorship, I think there are two different ways to look at it. The one can be like a formal, like I'm your mentor, you're my mentee, a little bit like our mentorship program. But I don't think it's often like that in practice. Sometimes it's just a relationship that you have with somebody. And only in hindsight now, I mean, like I didn't call her my mentor. She didn't call me like menteeing Meg, But in hindsight, when I look back, she was mentoring me. That's what she was. She was there for me. She supported me. She helped me. If I had a difficult case, whether it be in the middle of the night or whenever, I knew she was a person that I could pick the phone up and I could say, come. And she came and helped me. I remember once I had a really difficult carving and I picked up the phone and I phoned her. I said, I'm out of my depth here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Please come and help me. And she was there. And so that to me is like what a mentor is. It's someone who's going to uplift you, to make you feel like you're not alone. And I think a lot of us feel like that in vet rehab. A lot of us are in one-man practices. And I think especially when you start off with, when everything is just unknown, we just don't know how things work and you're just so unsure and so much doubt creeps in, the self-doubt creeps in, and you do something, you think, oh, how would one of my other colleagues have done that? Like, could they have done better? Did I do right? Should I have done that? And you just constantly just judging yourself and doubting yourself. That mentor, for me, for Jill, I would say, and should say like there's two ways to do things, or three or four ways to do things. Like not one way is right or wrong. Like you've chosen that path, like go down and see how the animal responds. And if it doesn't, you change track, and that made me feel like, oh, okay, like I got to trust my decisions and what I'm doing. And it doesn't mean I got to stick to that and like I've been wrong. And so she really, really helped me and supported me. And when I really needed it. And I would say like a few months after like having her as a support, suddenly I started to actually love what I was doing and I enjoyed my profession, and it was a complete change around. And so I think I probably just fell into having that first mentor, or maybe I just threw myself on her. I was like, help me, you have to help me, please. But it really, really changed things for me. And then, I think going forward, every time I was in a practice, I don't think it was necessarily like an intentional thing. I think it just happened. I would seek a person in the practice to be my mentor. Not that, like I said, it wasn't an arrangement that we had. I would just seek the person that I thought this person can support and help me. And I would just keep asking them questions, and if they were responsive, I'd be like, okay, you're my guy or you're my gal, and it really, really like, yeah, it really carried me through for me, mentors and people that have supported me, like, have really carried me through hard times and really made me a better vet. I won't say I had any, when I had my practice, my vet rehab practice, I didn't really have any mentors then because I was on my own and it was in the early stages of vet rehab in South Africa. So there weren't a lot of us. But in my veterinary career, it definitely made me a better vet. And what I love is you learn from the mistakes that they made. So you get to fast track your abilities and your knowledge because they save you from making those mistakes. So learning from other people, or everyone's goes through, and you are going to make mistakes. Just because you have had someone that mentors you doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. But then you'll pass that down and you pass all that knowledge down, and when we do that, we just make better vets, make better vet rehab therapists.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, if I think back to my beginning, when I qualified, I worked in a practice with other therapists for a year, and we had weekly meetings, weekly team meetings where we would discuss our cases. They were open meetings, so we could discuss anything. But it was really impactful to be able to talk through the cases that you're seeing this week, that you saw last week, the challenges when things weren't going right, and that clinical guidance. Yo, Meg, I mean, I remember the first patient that I saw, the first IVDD patient that I saw that I was responsible for. I panicked. And it's like, this is not difficult. This is not, I know what I'm doing. I had the knowledge, but it was just complete panic. And I walked out of that consult and went to talk to my boss and was like, what am I doing? What do I need to do? Am I wrong? Am I like, what's going on? And it wasn't even that she really gave me specific guidance. It was just having her there to be able to speak to, and then being able to go back to my patient, and then I was fine. Then it was fine. And it was the same exact feeling the first time I had a DM patient. Oh my gosh. And the client on that DM patient was like a neurological scientist in the human medical field. And I was like, I don't know if I can work with you. This is too intimidating. But yeah, having that person that you could talk to, that you can lean on, that you can discuss cases with is huge in the beginning. And I didn't think of it as mentorship then either, but it really is. It is, yeah. Um, and if I go, like, I was in that practice for a year, and then I started my own practice, my own business, which did not survive my first pregnancy. Oh wait, I was only pregnant once. So my only pregnancy, it didn't it didn't survive the pregnancy because it was a bad business model. I was not doing a good job of running my business. And looking back, I know, had I had a mentor, had I had anyone that I was speaking to for advice, they would have pointed out all the things that I was doing wrong. And there were so many. And they know those things because we all make those mistakes. Once we've walked that path, and we've all walked the path, we've all made the mistakes, we can help someone who's new not make the same mistakes and make better decisions. And I think that's really what it's about, is like we don't have to. My business did not have to fold when I got pregnant. It didn't have to. But because I set it up so wrong with so many gaps, there was no other way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that you're pointing out is obviously like the business side of things. And if you look at mentorship, I think for vet rehab is, there are two different ways in which you can get a mentor. And sometimes it could be the same person, but I think often it's two different people, because I think sometimes people have business skills and sometimes they have clinical skills that they share. You can have one mentor for all of them, but often you might end up with two different people. And that's why for our mentorship program, we have two different types of mentors: a clinical mentor and a business mentor. So for me, I have been a business mentor for Onlinepethealth. And It's actually amazing when you look at, and I think about all the people that I've mentored, it's often the same mistakes that
Mm.
they're making, the same mistakes continuously. You just see them coming. It's like this is a pattern that you're seeing. And partly I think is because when we go to vet rehab school or vet physio school or even vet school for that matter, um, our focus is always learning our craft and like what we're going to be and what we're going to do. And the last thing you think about as a student is how I'm going to run my business. And there might even be like courses and some like modules and things about that. But I do clearly remember mine at vet school, and it wasn't very thorough. I mean, it was really simple. It was like, what's gross profit? What's net profit? But saying that, I remember thinking, that's not even something I need to worry about because when I go out, I'm going to be working for somebody. And I wasn't thinking about when I was going to have my practice. So I think that the mindset always is that's something else I need to worry about. Like first I need to worry about actually, if I can't actually be a physio, a vet physio, or I can't be a vet rehab therapist, then how can I even have my own business? So I'll worry about that later. And so I think our skills are very limited in the business side of things. And they're so critical when you actually start your own practice because for you, for example, your practice didn't survive your first pregnancy. So I think the business side of things, it's really good to get somebody who's actually had their own practice and who's actually been through exactly what you're going through now. And you don't necessarily need to have somebody who's an equine person, or a small animal, but I do think it's useful because I do think that there are different nuances to each of those. So like small animal practice is very different to equine practice, and there are some tips and advice I think from the business side of things. So if you can be more specific, and I think we are like that with our mentorship program. We try and align people who are in equine with the equine business mentor. And then obviously you will have a clinical mentor, which really helps you more with your clinical cases and things like that. So either or you can try find one person or try find two different people and sometimes even two business mentors or two clinical mentors. Like you don't have to only have one. But yeah, just make sure that you are supported in the areas of your practice where you need to be.
That's like you say, it doesn't always have to be one. And sometimes, so in our mentorship program over the years, Agnes is the one who actually manages our mentorship program. She matches mentors and mentees to each other. It's all on a volunteer basis. I think it's very, very cool. But there have been years where they've created groups, right? So like a mentorship group. And then it's not so much about one person mentoring, but it's about the group bringing their knowledge together and supporting each other. And again, so incredibly valuable because you said earlier, there isn't just one way to do something. There isn't just one perspective, but bringing that collective knowledge together with the sole purpose of supporting and uplifting each other and making a success out of all of our cases, all of our businesses. That's the point. So I think that's very, very, very cool. And it isn't something you have to do within a formal setting, right? If you think of something like that, you can find a group of local rehabilitation therapists in your area and have a monthly coffee date. The purpose of it is to uplift each other, to speak to the challenges that you're having, to be supportive, and that will do the same thing. So I think it's very valuable. Yeah. Meg, what does a mentor do and what doesn't a mentor do? Because I always, whenever we're talking about something like this, it feels very open to me, right? Like you said earlier, this is the person you can call in the middle of the night when you're whatever the case may be. But so what is a mentor's role? If we're going to do this in a formal capacity, what does it look like? And what should it look like to be a healthy relationship? And what should it not look like if we want it to be a long-standing relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the relationship that you have with the person. I think if you've got a mentor that's in your practice with you, then they're a lot more accessible to you. It's different to when you've got a mentor that's on the other side of the phone. I do think with WhatsApp, we have such a great opportunity to be able to just to reach out to people. I mean, you don't need to phone them. You can voice note them, just send them a voice note in the day. Just had this really tricky case, like second judging myself, or like, could you just give me your 2 cents about it or whatever, your input? And then get feedback from them and get that either validation or, direction that will help you and make you feel like, okay, I've got this. So yeah, I mean, when I was in practice, we had no WhatsApp. When I was in veterinary practice, but WhatsApp really can make it easy. And I also think, when you've got a mentorship group, you can have a WhatsApp group. So a group of you just on a group and say, hey guys, got this tough case, need some input here, or some feedback. But for me, personally as a mentor and how I've been mentored, I think it's really important that you just see your mentor as a guide. They're not there to tell you what to do, because then you're not growing. So you have to use your mentor as someone who can guide you, who can support you, he can be there for you, and uplift you when you're down. Because I think that's a big part of being a mentor, is when somebody's just down in the dumps, they get like, don't worry, you've got this. Like, we've got this. Like, I'm here with you. I can support you. But I think one of the biggest things is when we get tunnel vision or we just don't know what to do. When you're in a position where you don't know what to do, you're like, I'm just stuck. What I think is the benefit for a mentor is they can actually see from above. And how I always explain this to my mentees is you're like in the fog. So like here you are in the fog and you cannot see your way out right now. Like everything is just, you're so overwhelmed, you don't know which way to go. But if you're in an airplane and you look from above, sometimes you can see like a little bit more. And that's what your mentor is. They're like looking from above and they can see the path out for you and they guide you in that path. They don't tell you where it is. They guide you for you to make the decisions to get yourself out there. And sometimes you won't take the most direct route. You might not take the guidance right away and you might go a little bit, but they continue to usher you and guide you so you get out of the fog and then you can see the light basically and you can do what you need to do effectively. But yeah, so definitely not telling you you've done wrong and telling you this is what you should do. It's like, and I think a lot of what mentors do are share their own experiences. And I think the more you mentor, you can also share others' experiences. And I've really done that a lot. I've been able to share with them, I've had somebody that, I've mentored before, and this is what happened. And this is their experience. And so the more you mentor, the more actually you're able to share. And, I've learned so much from mentoring. Learned from my mentees and sometimes even they're like new grads and they've done something and I think, but that's genius idea. Like, that's great. Do you mind if I share that with others, So yeah, I think it's a learning experience between two people and yeah, it's not this person knows everything and this person doesn't. It's not like that. It's a relationship and it's growing together. And the person who is in that instant wiser guiding.
Does it feel like that as a mentor? If you're providing mentorship to someone, does it feel like, is it a draining relationship when you're the
No, not at all. Not at all for me. Never. It's never draining. I think the only draining time it can be is if you have somebody who's just really down and out, like that probably needs to see a psychologist or somebody medical, like is really depressed and just really in a hard time. Because you can't be the psychologist for the person. You can't be that person. You can help them in down days and stuff, but if it's constant then, and I have actually had that once, just once I've had, and I've actually suggested to that person, I've said, I actually think you need to go and see some professional help. I've suggested that. So, but most of the time for me, it's energizing. I love it. I love listening to their ideas, and often sometimes just the things you say, then you spark them off, and then they come up with some brilliant ideas which you wouldn't have even thought about. So yeah, definitely not draining for me.
So it feels like mentoring someone from that perspective, it really actually feeds into our nature, right? Because it's someone who needs us, who's seeking our advice, who's listening to us, who's eager to engage with us. Like, that feels actually like a very rewarding
Yeah.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
100% for me, I mean, I'm a helper. I love helping people. So when I help people, I'm happy. So yeah, for me, I feel like I'm having an impact. I feel like I'm making a difference. And, obviously in my, helping vet rehabbers with the business side of things, I feel like, I'm supporting my community. I'm making a difference for vet rehab all over the world, because we're growing the field. And for that, that's something I'm really passionate about. So I think as a mentor, you do have to be that type of person that you like to share, you like to help, and that makes you feel good.
Mm. Which most of us are. Most of
Yeah.
us are like, so if you're how do you know that you can be a mentor? Like, is that something that you intentionally you were like, okay, I want to help this person, I want to give them some guidance, that's something I want to do? Or for you, did becoming a mentor kind of just happen accidentally? Um,
I think,
do you like know that you're ready to be a mentor for someone?
yeah, I mean, if I think back now, it literally just happens. So people will seek you and they will just start asking your opinion on things. And then they just keep asking your opinion on things, Um, and yeah, I've had a few mentors that have happened that way where I just yeah, and then they just call on me. Like, any big decision they need to make in their practices, they will voice note me still to this day now, and they'll voice note me and say, I've got a big decision. I need some direction. And then, for me, a lot of the things that I do when I mentor is give them the pros and cons of whatever they're going to decide, and that they haven't necessarily thought about. So I'll just be like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And so then they're like, geez, I didn't think about that. Actually, sure, would have been a bad decision. I didn't think about that. That would really have been bad for me. So you're not, like I said, you're not giving them the answer. You just, because of your experience, you're able to give them more information because they haven't traveled through that. They haven't done that before. So they don't know what could happen. And yeah. And then, yeah. So for me, I think a lot of it has just been, and those relationships that I have, I think those people would say, Megan's my mentor. Um, but actually, if you had to say to me, like, who are your mentees, I probably wouldn't mention those people. They just like, they're just vet rehab therapists that I help, When I think of my mentees, I think of it more actually on the formal online pet health mentorship program. Those are my mentees. Whereas those other relationships where it's just we've become mentors and mentees, that's not how I think of it. Maybe I think they think of me as a mentor.
Okay, thanks, Meg. I like that because I think we we always doubt ourselves, and I think more of us can provide mentorship than we realize. Once you've walked that path, you can start doing it. Like, once you've started
Yeah.
learning about the pitfalls and how to overcome them, and the things that we do, the mistakes that we make, the good decisions that we make, the things that work and that don't work, we can start supporting other rehab therapists that are coming behind us, that are following along. I think that's, and it's very, very, very rewarding. So I think it's worth thinking about. So we're always seeking mentors in our mentorship program. And I hope that has encouraged our listeners to consider being mentors as well.
Yeah, do you want to share how our mentorship program works and how they can sign up?
Yeah, okay, great. So we have very recently reopened our mentorship program. We re-register and reopen it on an annual basis. It is 100% volunteer basis, community run and driven. It is it is our way of creating an extra layer of support for Vetrehabbers in our industry, because for not, for all of us, having that those Facebook groups or WhatsApp communities, those are great, but so often we need to be able to speak to someone and speak through the things that are challenging to us, and mentorship is that. So if you go into any of our Facebook groups, the small animal Vetrehabbers, equine Vetrehabbers, hydro Vetrehabbers, and business Vetrehabbers, in the pinned section of our groups, there is a sign-up form to join the mentorship program. And it's there because it is open to our whole community. Our members do get placed first, but it is open to the whole community. So you sign up as a mentor or a mentee or both, whichever you need. As Meg mentioned already, you're going to indicate whether you need mentorship from a clinical perspective or a business perspective. You're going to highlight the areas that are your biggest challenge. So yeah, whatever that might be, you're going to highlight that. And then that is going to help Agnes to match you to the right mentor or mentee. And then you have the year to spend together in whichever capacity works for both of you. So they are relationships. They don't have a formal set structure. Each mentor and mentee or mentorship group will run according to what works best for those individuals. So it might be regular Zoom calls or a WhatsApp group or whatever is going to work for that group and for what they need. So I think it's a really special thing. I think it's very worth doing. We've basically had mentors that have been part of the program from the beginning, and they keep signing up every year because it really is a rewarding relationship to have. Yeah, you learn a lot by doing it, and that's how it works. So I really encourage you guys to sign up. When should you seek out a mentor? I asked Meg that earlier, and basically the answer is all the time. You should have a mentor all the time.
You should. But I think definitely when you first start. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think when any big thing is happening in your career. So let's say maybe you're gonna, become a diplomat to the American College of, sports medicine. You're gonna just do another study more, or every time you make some major change, like in your career or your profession, or you start a practice, or you want to open up another practice, or any big change that's happening, you definitely must have one. I feel having someone all the time is great. And then I think definitely you guys that are just starting out in practice, like just don't start alone. Just get a mentor, like find somebody to help and support you. I also just wanted to say, just a big thank you to Agnes, because guys, it's actually such a hectic job trying to match everyone up. Because we have like people from all over the world. And so it's not necessarily just matching up two people, a mentee that wants clinical help in small animal, and a mentor. They have to be in the similar time zone, right? So really, Agnes, you do an amazing job. So thank you for everything that you do to set that up. So we really look at everything. We're thinking about who's the right person for you. Are they in a similar time zone? So it's going to be easy for you guys to be able to chat and meet up. So yeah, it's really something that we do at Onlinepethealth, which we really love the mentorship program, and we really feel like it helps a lot of people. So please make use of it. Like, don't sit there alone and not have anyone you can join.
Agnes calls it matchmaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Yeah.
Love it. Great, Ané. I think that's been an awesome chat, and I'm excited to see all the mentors and mentees what they achieved this year. I love it at the end of the year because we obviously recognize all our mentors, and I love seeing all the people that are out there. And like you say, there are some that just keep on. So for all of you that mentor and volunteer for that, thank you guys. You do a great job.
Thank you, Meg.
Cheers, Ané.
Bye, guys.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. I'm here every week talking to vet rehab therapists from all over the world about all things vet rehab. A big thanks to our sponsor, Paw Prosper. Their sponsorship allows us to be able to give this podcast to you for free, so please go and check them out at pawprosper.com. Don't forget to bookmark the next Vet Rehab Summit on Saturday, the 8th of November, 2025. Come and be a part of the world's largest online veterinary rehabilitation conference created specifically for you, the Vetrehabber community. Onlinepethealth members get VIP complimentary access to the Vet Rehab Summit. For more information about continuing education for vet rehabbers, you can go to onlinepethealth.com.